So let's talk about Anna's Archive. It's a platform that's right at the center of this huge global debate. Who really gets to control access to knowledge?
Yeah, monetary damages and a permanent injunction. That pretty much sums it up. To really get what Anna's Archive is all about, you've got to start with a massive legal fight it's in. And we're not talking about a small disagreement here. This is a huge threat with some serious money at stake.
And here's the number. We're talking over $5.3 million. That's the amount a nonprofit called OCLC wants in damages. Why? Well, they're accusing Anna's Archive of hacking their systems and basically copying WorldCat, which is one of the biggest library catalogs on the entire planet. So that leads to a lot of questions, right? We're going to look at why this library is under fire, what exactly it is, how the whole thing works, untangle the legal and ethical maze it's caught in, and finish with the big one. Is knowledge a privilege or a right? All right, let's kick things off. What exactly is Anna's Archive?
Okay, so Anna's Archive is what people call a shadow library. Basically, it's an online database that gives you free access to stuff, books, articles, you name it, that you'd normally have to pay for. As you can imagine, that puts it in a very tricky legal spot. And the way it started is pretty wild. Back in November 2022, this other huge shadow library, Z Library, got targeted by US authorities, and its domains were seized. Just days later, boom, Anna's Archive pops up, launched by an anonymous archivist to basically pick up the torch. And their mission, wow, it's incredibly ambitious. They're not just trying to share files. Their stated goal is to preserve and make every single book ever published accessible to everyone. The idea is to build the biggest open library in the world. And when we talk about scale, it's just mind-boggling. The site indexes more than 50 million books, and get this, over 100 million academic papers. That volume is just enormous, making it one of the biggest digital catalogs out there. So how on earth does a site like this actually work? The way it's built is really the key to its survival. Okay, this is super important. Anna's Archive doesn't actually store any of the files on its own servers. It's what's called a Metasearch engine. So think of it less like a library and more like a super-powered search engine, like a Google, specifically for finding books and papers on other sites. This detail is absolutely central to their whole legal defense. It's actually pretty simple. You go to the site, you type in what you're looking for, the engine then goes out and scans a bunch of other shadow libraries like Library Genesis or Sci-Hub and gathers up all the info. Then it just gives you a list of links pointing to where you can find the actual file on those other sites.
And this whole setup is built to be tough to take down. It's a one-stop shop for searching. It uses decentralized stuff like torrents, so there's no single weak point. All its code is open for anyone to see, and it's funded by donations, not profits. All that together makes it a very slippery target. And that brings us right to the heart of the matter, the legal and ethical maze.
You know, the tech is really clever, but the site's very existence is a total flashpoint. It operates in this massive legal gray area, and it's sparking this huge global debate about information access.
And you can really see the two sides of the argument here. On one side, you have proponents saying, look, this is essential for students and researchers, especially in countries where they can't possibly afford these expensive paywalls. Information wants to be free. But on the other side, critics are saying, hold on, this is just large-scale piracy. It hurts authors and publishers who need to get paid to create new things. So because of this fight, the crackdown is real and it's growing. We're seeing internet providers in places like Italy, the UK, the Netherlands. They're all being ordered to block the site. And here in the US, it's even been put on the government's Notorious Markets List. So this all leads to the big question. Is knowledge a privilege or is it a right? Now, if you're looking for information and you want to stay completely in the clear legally, you do have options. There are fantastic, totally legal alternatives out there. You've got Project Gutenberg for public domain books, and the Internet Archive with its millions of items available through a kind of controlled lending system. Now, do they have the same massive scope as Anna's Archive? No, but they are safe and legitimate ways to get knowledge. At the end of the day, the whole story of Anna's Archive really just boils down to this one huge question that we all have to think about. Should access to knowledge be a privilege,